What's up? Welcome to the Urban Professional Podcast. Today we have an extraordinary, I'm so excited, dope guest. This guy, a former athlete. Yeah, he did it on the field. And he broke that stigma that athletes can't convert over to the classroom. He's a phenomenal physician. The Magazine in Dallas, Texas, one of the top physicians in the Dallas Metroplex. Guys, we're blessed with the presence of Dr. Timothy Pringle. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and thanks to you, and thanks to Miss Lowry, who invited me here to talk, and I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. Well, you are a book of knowledge, a plethora of knowledge. So I don't even want to hold it. I want to give the audience like all of you. So with that being said, I said former athlete, former ball player who crossed over into the medical corridor. Tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us.
Well, I'm from Middletown, Ohio,
Okay.
small town, probably 50,000 inner city. Some people you may know, like Chris Carter, Todd Bell.
Hey, talking about some people out right now. You gonna throw some names? You gonna hit them with that?
Yeah, we grew up together. And so, but you know, I'm the second oldest.
Okay.
Out of four, and father worked at a steel mill for 40 years. Mother was a homemaker. It didn't have money to go to college, so it was all about the grind and getting out, and that was just the philosophy we shared with many of us. And so football was an avenue. I played all sports, football, basketball, and track, and I kind of just went from one sport to the next to the next. And the goal was, you know, you had to be the best, you know, period. And so, and that was something that was handed down. You know, you had Todd Bell to hand it down to Sonny Gordon, which you all probably know a little, to Chris Carter, to a lot of other athletes. And in 1986, when I came out, actually 13 of us signed letters of intent to college to play football, in different sports. But that was our way of getting to college. But you know, when you're going into college, there's a lot you just don't know. You know, there weren't doctors in my neighborhood. You know, I didn't know personally, you know, engineers who could take me up and give me the blueprint. My father was a pastor, you know, so I knew morals and values and hard work, and continue to press towards the mark for the higher calling, but I didn't have the blueprint for medicine. And so I went to college on a full football scholarship.
Okay.
Okay. I started as a freshman.
Okay.
So
Okay.
pretty much it was rolling when I walked
stick the
in.
chest out.
And so studied pre-med and played football at the same time, graduated in 4 years. And then when they were giving the MCAT exam, I was playing on TV. So I couldn't take it. So I had to sit out a year, take it that year after I graduated, and then I went to medical school from there. But it was all trailblazing, because with a lot of stuff I didn't know, a lot of questions weren't answered, and I didn't have the financial support, but I was really rich. I was rich spiritually, so I had spiritual guidance and faith, you know, that I could overcome.
Absolutely.
That was the only thing that kept me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went from being, I would say, professional athletic in football to going to the professional of the mind in medical school, and I was totally different. And so, you know, I got in there and really didn't know what type of doctor I want to be. And that's not uncommon. Sometimes you have to go through, they teach you everything. You know, you learn all the specialties, and you kind of pick something that caters to your personality, who you are, you know. So I was good with my hands, you know, eye-hand coordination. You know, I was a quarterback in high school, played defensive back as well. Played defensive back in college, ran the high hurdles.
Okay.
You know, so it was
full
all,
athlete. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's where my skill set was, and so when I got into medical school, I kind of went towards the surgical aspect of medicine, and then once I got into general surgery, then I specialize in vascular surgery, which is pretty much repairing arteries and veins and restoring blood flow and keeping this, like we say, we keep it flowing. keeping the blood flowing.
I like that.
Right.
With that perspective of keeping it flowing, just what you rambled off, that is like a lot of pressure. It's a lot of hard work. So kudos to you for most definitely. That's an amazing story. With all of that piled up, what do, I guess, you have to take care of yourself. So what does that look like in the perspective of self-health, self-care, and what happens if that is neglected?
Well, this is a, how do you say, a loaded question, right? That needs a whole lot of unpacking, and we won't be able to unpack all of it in an hour because some of that is like how you take care of yourself going through what I went through, right? You definitely can't be ingesting wrong information, wrong food, wrong whatever that's going to create a negative impact. So, you know, you are what you eat. That's what they tell you.
Absolutely.
You are what you eat. So if you are eating healthy things, it's going to help your brain to function better, your heart to function better, your kidneys, your livers, right? If you're drinking unhealthy things or smoking unhealthy things, then it's going to affect your ability to function. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're doing medicine, whether you're a pro athlete, whether you are doing engineer or accounting or being an attorney. It don't matter what you're doing, whether you're preaching, you know.
Right.
If you are putting things in your body that's going to cause a negative impact, then you're going to get negative results.
True.
Right? So in order to produce positive things, you need to put positive things in. Okay?
Absolutely.
It even affects our kids now what they're listening to on TV, right?
Right.
You know, we grew up, we were cut from a different cloth.
Absolutely.
You know, we weren't that fragile. You know,
I agree.
We can
Great
overcome
point.
a lot of things. You know, I was telling my wife today, I said, you know what, the guy that I'm going to meet in this week, he was cutting my hair in the 5th grade. She said, 5th grade? I said, yeah, we were cut from a different cloth. You know, we was go-getters, right?
Absolutely.
Now you got kids that, you know, they can't ride around the block without some help, right? So it's just what you put in your body. Like, so you know, the Bible will say that so a man thinketh, so is he.
Absolutely. Right.
So if you're not thinking positive things, how are you going to get positive results? I mean, you're definitely not going to become a doctor and overcome all that adversity if you don't have positive thoughts constantly flowing through your mind. You know, I gave a talk at the Martin Luther King, so I got honored for the Martin Luther King in my hometown.
Congratulations.
And I was telling them, they said the question was, what does it take to be a doctor? Well, you talk about elementary, we talked about that, high school. That's what, 17 years, 18 years of your life, 4 years of medical school, 4 years of undergrad, before medical school, 4 years of medical school. You know, 7 years of general surgery with 2 years of research, right? 2 years of vascular surgery. So all of that before you even start practicing.
I quit. Go ahead.
Exactly. So if you don't have that blueprint, how are you going to get there? How are you going to persevere? How are you going to know what to do when you encounter adversity? So you talk about your body and mind have to be in shape.
Self-care most definitely is important. Health is wealth. With that being said, you know, it transitioned into, you talked about the business of healthcare. So that transitioned into the boardroom, and I think people have to be educated, no doubt, because, I mean, we wouldn't hire a fat guy to be our trainer. So I think that it's more like people have to be educated on the specifics. With health being wealth, we also have to understand that men tend to think that they can go out, drink, party, have a good time, and it's not going to take toll on the end. How do you feel about that as far as like educating these guys that it's so many layers of what you do now? And you kind of hit on that in the beginning of what you intake, what you do. How does that take toll on your body on the back end, and what do us as men need to do for success on the back end?
Okay, so Xavier, I'm going to touch on some of this in a different way.
Okay.
Because, you know, I read some of the questions, I wrote down some notes, and I want to share with your audience a decision that just was passed. It says on March the 30th, 2023, Judge Reed O'Connor, a federal judge in the Northern District of Texas, ruled that the federal government may not require commercial health plans across the U.S. to cover a wide range of preventive health services without imposing cost sharing under the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act requires insurers and group health plans to cover more than 100 preventive health services without cost to consumers. This requirement, which includes cancer screening, immunizations, and many other services, is one of ACA's most widely recognized and popular benefits. Around 151 million people received free preventive care in 2020 alone. This led to increased use of preventive services, improved health outcomes, and reduced racial disparities to access for care.
Wow.
Why is this important? Because by passing this law, he said, in a series of decisions, Judge Reed O'Connor declared unconstitutional a key element of preventive service requirement and ruled that the federal government could not require health plans to cover those services without imposing cost sharing. Those rulings affect more than 50 of the most common preventive services, including screening for lung cancer, cervical cancer, colorectal cancer, heart disease, hepatitis B and C, hypertension, alcohol, substance use, and tobacco cessation, pre-exposure prophylaxis to prevent HIV and AIDS, preeclampsia screening, and folic acid for pregnant women, depression screening, and breastfeeding service and supports. Wow. So if this ruling stands, insurers could opt out of covering those services or force consumers to pay part of the cost, potentially making those services inaccessible for millions of Americans, especially marginalized and underserved populations, thus exacerbating health disparities.
So Doc, what you just read is like this.
Right.
So for the audience out here, who we in this microwave age, can you give that to them? Give them the cliff notes of what you just said.
Really quick. They're not going to pay for surveillance testing for the disease that will lead to your death.
Wow.
So when I first came out in 1990 to medical school, they had just started screening for diseases like prostate, colon cancer, and breast cancer. And before that, people would work, till they were 65. They may have a disease that went undiagnosed.
Right.
And within 10 years, they passed away.
Right.
Okay, that's what a life expectancy was, like 70 years old.
Okay.
Right? But when they start screening and start catching those diseases and treating those diseases,
right,
and then it will extend people's life expectancy 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
So our problem in the United States is now we got too many people. So when I see a law that's being passed like this, they're saying we're not going to screen, we're not going to try to catch nothing, right? Then they're saying let nature take its place. So the question you're asking me is, why is it important that you take care of yourself? That's the question you're really asking me. You said self-care, what does that look like, and the effects of neglect? You're really saying, why is it important to take care of yourself?
Come on now.
Right?
Right.
And this law just passed, March 30, 2023, that we're not going to screen and catch nothing. And if you want screening, you're going to have to pay for it yourself.
Ooh.
Okay?
Ooh. So that kind of rolls back into sort of what we were saying, like, you guys thinking that you can go out and go hard and party, liquor, smoke, and plus you're not voting, you're in trouble. Because what you're saying is it used to be where at least you can take the test and the insurance pay for this preventative care, but now they saying, nah, we're gonna let you. And on top of you damaging your body,
right,
they don't stand a chance, Doug.
Right.
So you're saying that's the motive.
Right, that's your cliff notes. That's your cliff notes. Because here, it's like here. You're asking me a question, why is it important to take care of yourself? Right? That's the first. Well, if you want something current, that's your answer. That's a current court case. Supreme Court passed it. We passed it here in Texas.
Right.
Along with all the other things that's going on where they're not giving your doctor time to really sit and talk to you and educate you, because the insurance don't pay for that. You know, you only got a certain amount of time to see that patient. So you're not getting educated. The complexity of when you're coming from an underserved background and you don't have access to physicians and people don't know where, now you got even a more complicated problem because you don't have nobody to talk to. And then you're hearing from friends and it's like not factual information.
Right.
So fear paralyzes, right? Whether it's a cultural fear or social fear or a financial fear that stop you from getting coverage or getting treatment or seeking help, that paralyzes you so you do nothing. If you don't do anything, guess what? Nature takes its place.
Right.
You know.
And also, Doc, something that we keep talking on underprivileged, and I think one of which we don't like to talk about, the best ability is availability, right?
Right.
If you're not healthy, you can't be at work, right? Also, on top of that, appearance is everything. Like we whether we said or not, we in a world that visual means something. So we look to see, do you look the part and all of that comes with health. So with all of that being said, what advice would you have for a viewer as far as like if they wanted to get on track and they know that this law is coming down, what's something that you want a viewer to know this is what you can do? If I had to take action now, what would be a plan that I can take, just not to cure it, but to start moving forward towards having better health?
You know, I'm going to tell you a few things I say to all my patients, right? You know, the three basic diseases are high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, right?
Right.
Just about everything rolls off of that. Heart disease, kidney disease, brain disease, dementia, heart attack, strokes, kidney failure, all that, cancer, all rolls off of those three fundamental diseases and bad eating habits. Okay? So, you know, what is the first treatment of diabetes? Do you know?
No.
Diet. What's the first treatment for cholesterol, high cholesterol?
Give it to me.
Diet. What's the first treatment for hypertension?
Let me guess, diet.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that's the that's the first step. So, you know, your diet, you know, the food you put in your body fights disease on a cellular level. So you have to be strategic about what you eat. And so you talk about what can I do? Well, the first thing is eat healthy. And what's a healthy diet? A healthy diet is fruits and vegetables and legumes and meat sparingly and poultry sparingly. You know, I tell people, you know, we were hunters and gatherers. There was no refrigerators. You know, you went and hunt your animal and you might not find another animal for 2 weeks or a month, right?
Wow.
And you ate that animal that day. But then the rest of the time you was eating fruits and vegetables, right? Your body's designed to burn that up like this. Now we don't hunt anything. We drive to the store and pick it up every day. Meat will stay in your body 5 to 7 days. So if you're eating meat every day, what do you think is happening?
Question for you, and I know this is going to be some of the audience questions, because they're going to think, you know, we got now these new pop-up gym guys, right? Who are trainers.
Right.
So with that meat, could you answer that question as far as would they burn it? I guess is what I'm asking. Like if they're saying, okay, I'm not sitting still, so I eat this meat and I burn it. Like what would your answer be for that?
Well, you start looking at counting calories, right? Your body, it's basic math, in and out. So, you know, hamburger, you got to do 500 sit-ups. Are you doing 500 sit-ups a day? You know, I mean, so it's like you start really looking at what it takes to burn off what you're eating. It's a lot. So you're working out half the day. So if you are doing those things, yeah, but you count your calories, you know. But if you're not doing those things, you just eat meat, guess what? It's sitting there. And so it's in equals out. They have to match out. If you have more in, less out, then you have calories surplus. And your body's going to store that as calories. So, you know, you're going to get into a whole lot of hard discussion between to I love meat, I love poultry, I love this, I don't want to give this up, I don't want to give that up.
Right.
But I tell people all the time, a decision not to make a decision is a decision.
Say that again.
A decision not to make a decision is a decision. So you have decided, you've decided to
I like
go
that. I
one
like
way or
that.
the other.
I like
right?
that. I like that.
The best diet is mostly plant-based with a little meat, right?
Right.
That's a balanced diet. But nobody's going to teach that because of the money issue, right? They want
Right.
you to eat meat every day, But if you look at the revised food pyramid, they say eat meat sparingly, eat poultry sparingly, and the base of that pyramid is fruits, vegetables, and legumes, and exercise. And here's another thing I tell people, because they say, why exercise? Exercise. Let's get to your point. I exercise. And I tell them this. I said, if exercise is a gun, what you put in the body is the bullets. Are you circulating blanks? Because if you're eating poison, processed food, and a bunch of just bad GMOs and not a lot of healthy food, then when you exercise, that's what you're going to circulate to your end organs. And that's what your end organs will have to use to perform their job, whether it's your brain, your heart, your kidney, your liver, etc. Right?
Right.
So what we do as physicians is we determine how good a chemist you are, right? So you come in, you can't lie to us.
Right.
Because over the 3 months before we saw you, or during that little interim period, guess what? When we draw that lab, it's going to tell us how good a chemist you were. Because what you put in the body is going to produce a product.
Right.
And we're going to see that product on your labs.
Right.
It's either going to be a good product or it's going to be a bad product. Now, the good thing about it is, that I say this all the time, disease is injury over time.
Okay.
It doesn't happen just because you did it a week. No, you have been doing it for years. And the problem with the body is it's so resilient that it won't scream or holler until your end organ is about ready to fail.
So, Doc, with all of that going on, and it's a lot of information.
I know.
You're super smart. So if you had to, with the viewers, if you had to say, if you don't get anything from me today, what would be the one thing you would want to stick with the viewers to say, if you remember nothing, remember this today?
Change your diet. Change your diet.
You are what you eat.
Yeah, you want to eat more fruits and vegetables and a little bit of meat and exercise. You want to have alkaline-based diet. You want to try to do organic food as much as possible. People think that that's all expensive or that it doesn't taste good. You can follow me on websites. Sometimes I actually will post pictures of my food. And I've eaten plenty of it and still lose weight. When you eat healthy, your body knows what to do with it. When you don't eat healthy, your body stores it. Okay?
Gotcha.
As bad calories. So the best thing you can do is to change your diet. And you can eat healthy and it'd be very cost effective. Right? I tell people all the time, rich people die like poor people because you're eating the same poison. It just tastes better.
Wow.
And you pay more for it. But it's the same ingredients that they're putting in the food. And if you're not strategic about how you eat, there's data to show that people who fix their meals at home actually are healthier than people who eat out all the time.
Absolutely.
So if I had to summarize it, it would be eat healthy. Change your diet. Start there. Because if you see laws that's being passed that they're not going to surveillance to catch disease, if you don't have the money to go to see the doctor, then the best thing you can do is begin to change your lifestyle, because you want your lifespan equal your health span, because you want to live till you die. You don't want to exist till you die.
Great answer. Guys, I want to thank you, Doc, for coming in. You guys heard it. You better watch what you eat or it's over with. But on the real, guys, what you eat, that's who you are. You are what you eat. It's a term. Thank you, Doc, so much for coming in and educating us.
Appreciate it.
And we appreciate you being here.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.